A rabbi can't really paskin. A rabbi could tell the person if the food is tray for kosher. The rabbi could say the Erev that was burnt down on Thursday night of Lag BaOmer, we fixed it all. If Davidovich could paskin, it's fine. That's a black and white thing. Should you downsize? Should you be working less hours and spending more hours learning? Should you you have 2 cars for yourself, and the second each of your teenagers hits driving age has his own new car? Maybe you could downsize from that and you have more learning time. They could discuss it with the rabbi, but only the person has to be so objective and try to have real self-awareness of what I need. And that word need versus indulgence. There's no definition. You could go to Webster's. No one is going to be able to define a need and what is a luxury. Each one of us. What?
Don't you think the rabbi should set some kind of standard for people because they really don't know? In other words, and say, you want to be kedoshim? This is what you have to work on.
Yeah, I totally agree with Julie. Minimally, the rabbi should definitely be pushing and encouraging and nudging the people to a life of more kedusha and trying to move away from the materialism indulgence. But there's no black and white Pesak. But I totally agree. It's every rabbi's obligation to try to talk about more learning, more ruchnius, more spiritual, more chesed, to push the people in that direction. Hopefully each person will feel the pull, and hopefully each one will work it out in a good way, in a proper way. But it's a hard one. Really hard one. It's unbelievable, yes.
I was going to say the definition of kadosh is not holy. It's different, separate, apart.
Totally right. The word kadosh could mean separate for good or for bad. A kedesha is a prostitute who is set apart for that immoral act, and we want to separate ourselves more towards spirituality. But there's so many variables involved that we each have to figure it out. And I totally agree with Julie that hopefully the rabbis, the teachers are trying to give the direction. But hopefully it's up to each one of us to figure out how much of a life of deveka, spirituality, and chesed and learning we could do. Yes?
You answered most of my question, but one point we haven't discussed. This person who's earning $500,000 a year is say they're giving the minimum tzedakah, $50,000.
Yes.
You're going to cut them down now and tell them they can only earn $200,000 a year. Their tzedakah now goes from
That's a great point.
$20,000.
That's a great point. Should we? Let's say the person's giving nice tzedakah, and you talk to him. He comes to talk to the rabbi. You know what? I'm wondering about maybe downsizing, and I think I'll be able to learn more, do more chesed projects. And as far as I know, I don't think any rabbi is going to say no. Keep working, be more involved in the physical world, so that way you could give more tzedakah. I don't think so. You give tzedakah based on what? On what you make. So kedoshim to you should help you set your standard of life up based on you, each one subjectively. And then your standard is 300,000 is what you need to get by. Of course, each one has to decide what that means. So then the 30,000 is the tzedakah. I don't think, the average person, maybe have a miyuchad case where the Gedolah might say different. Who was the baker? He started off as a baker in Canada. The brothers, Olympia York.
Yeah.
The Reichman brothers, and then they went under and bankrupted. Even when they went under, there's such a kiddush Hashem, not one bad word about them. They owed billions of dollars, so everyone could start screaming at them. Everyone said, no, the holy people, just a handshake was all you ever need from them. So people who are supporting the whole Torah world, maybe an Ashir Muflag, there's a category. Maybe the Gadol will say something different, I don't know. But the average person, no. We work on the kedoshim to you, figure out what is the proper lifestyle for each one of us, which is a very hard thing to do, and then we give it tzedakah based on that. I don't think we should work to give tzedakah. You heard what I'm saying?
What happens also, another part of this equation, this person who's earning the $500,000, let's say he's paying full tuition for his 6 children. He cuts his salary, he's going to go on scholarship.
Oh, so that's a great question. Does kedoshim to you mean that now I lower my income, then I'm going to have to be living off of handouts? I do not maintain that at all. I'm very depressed every morning in our minyan, where people are coming and collecting 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds. It's very depressed. I'm not angry at them. I'm angry at the system that produced that. where you just go ahead, have no way to get by, and this is like built in, you just become a collector. That is not what the Torah wants. So going ahead and now working in a way you have to have help, it's a delicate one. So you're right, these things definitely have to be worked through properly with a Rav, for sure. Anyway, let's just summarize some of the points we saw. So first of all, we saw kedoshim to you. In our parsha, of course, there's a special aspect of kedoshim by Kohanim, and it's, of course, continuation of kedoshim from the previous parsha. There are people quote the three famous words of the Ramban: "Naval b'shus haTorah." You're disgusting, but you're technically keeping the laws. People think the Ramban is coming to introduce that category in these two parshas, and if I understand correctly, he's coming to remove the category. Meaning, if you're acting as a maneuverable person, indulging way more than you need, whatever that may mean, you are now in violation. You are no longer naval b'shus. You're a novel against the Torah now, because you're violating kedoshim to you. So we took a little side point about halacha, whatever we're talking about is keeping halacha and above and beyond as well. We mentioned like Ma'omer. People really got to be careful guiding our children, grandchildren, friends, neighbors about violation after violation that goes on. It's not a kavod by at all. The stealing and the wagons and this and the destroying the Erev and the grounds, besides the danger of the fire and all that, is of course a serious violation. That's basic halacha. Here we're talking about Kedusha, where you're going above and beyond. But then we said it's a very difficult thing, this idea of kedoshim. Now, for this person could live 20 hours a day, live in an apartment with 10, 15 kids in one bedroom, and this one, like, they're going to go crazy. Literally going to go crazy. Right? So you're right. It's got to be worked out, and each person has to decide. I think the rabbi, as Julie said, has an obligation to try to push to ruchnius and chesed and community work and learning and give shiurim and try to offer to the people. So sort of pull them and nudge them in that way, but ultimately each person is going to have to work it through. I don't think that a person should go and say that I'll work more so I can give more tzedakah. I don't think so. I'd like to, if any Pesak says that, maybe an Ashir Muflag, a unique individual, maybe who's sustaining the Torah world, maybe, I'm not sure. But then if it means lowering that, becoming dependent on others, that's also tricky. But I'm not into that. I'm being independent. That's definitely where I come from. So I think you have to find that sweet spot, which is very subjective. Hashem should bless all of us with a life of Kedusha and clarity, and you should have a good kosher Lag BaOmer. And I don't think any of us are doing those bonfires and worry about stealing, but if we have any influence on the kids and others, really to give them that message is important. They don't even think twice. When I tell it to them, like, oh my gosh, you're right. They didn't think once about this stealing in Agalot. They didn't think about it. The wagons. They just don't. It's just what you do. You know what I'm saying? Okay, everyone should be well.
Happy Lag BaOmer, Shabbat Shalom.
Happy Lag BaOmer. Take care.